cops are supposed to catch the killer, but what happens when the officer is the killer? Here are 3 chilling cases where cops in positions of power turned out to be the criminal. Starting with the shocking story of William Talley, a respected police chief from Georgia who would use his position in power to commit murder.
Kelly's dead.
Yes.
No!
Don't do that.
No! No!
On May 11, 2019, officers in Muskogee County received a chilling phone call from one of William's neighbors who claimed she had just been on the phone with William and had been told something disturbing. That he had accidentally killed his girlfriend, Kelly Levinson. Officers were dispatched, and after interviewing the neighbor, they quickly realized that something was horribly off.
So nobody's here has been injured.
No, he told me that he lives in Hilbert.
Okay.
But that's nothing.
No, this is her house.
This is her house.
He was living here with her.
Okay. And he's the one that told you that?
Yeah.
After realizing that William might be a potential murder suspect, the cops started to ask the neighbor about his whereabouts.
Where's he at?
We haven't approached.
All right, but I want to make sure he's not in here with a gun.
Once the officers realized that Talley had fled the scene in Kelly's truck, they decided to enter the home, hoping that Kelly was still alive. But upon entering, it became obvious that a physical altercation had taken place in the living room. Pressing further into the home, officers stumbled across a mangled body in the kitchen that they presumed to be Kelly Levinson, which was all the officers needed to declare William Talley as the main suspect for the murder. But they had one problem. Talley had extensive police training, as he was both a police chief and a part of the SWAT team, so finding him was going to be difficult. But before the hunt could even begin, dispatch got a call reporting that Kelly's stolen truck had just crashed on the highway. EMTs arrived at the scene and transported a badly injured William Talley to the hospital, where cops took him into custody.
12, okay.
Tally, you know me, right, bud?
We're taking him no matter what, right now.
With the bandage, yeah, remember? All right, brother. We're gonna take care of you now.
Ready for the handcuffs?
Talley was brought to the interrogation room, and the footage we're about to see puts on full display the very law he's taken advantage of is used against him.
Hey, man. Slide some water? Sure. A cup of coffee? You sure?
I am not your judge, but we brought you over here. Hopefully we can get a better understanding of maybe what happened on Saturday, Sunday, and hopefully we'll get your side of that, and you can kind of help shed some light on what happened out there, okay?
You'll notice that William is keeping his head on the table, staying fairly unresponsive through most of the detective's questions. Most people think he was doing that to gain some shred of sympathy, or maybe just to hide his emotions. But what we definitely know is that for the first time in his life, William is the one being interrogated instead of doing the interrogating. And while he experiences deep embarrassment over this, that embarrassment will slowly change to fear as he realizes his answers could be the difference between a life sentence and the end of his life.
Can I ask what my charges are?
Yeah, right now you're charged with murder. You're charged with violation of oath of office, and you're charged
Who?
with
Who?
possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime.
Who? Who?
That's what we're hoping you can tell us. Maybe once we start talking about it a little bit.
It wasn't Becky, was it? Who was it, Kelly?
William states 2 names here, Becky and Kelly. Now we know Kelly is his deceased girlfriend, but William was actually married to someone named Rebecca, Becky Talley, who it turns out he'd been cheating on. It seems William is pretending to be unaware that someone's been murdered, so the detectives decide to drop a bombshell and see how he reacts.
Well,
Is it a cop?
Well, that's what we want you hoping you can tell us. But before we get to any of that part, if you feel like it, if you're able to, and you can sign this.
Nobody's talking with me about things.
Well, we're gonna get to that. That's what we're hoping to get to.
No, I'm not talking until somebody talks to me.
Okay.
Tally begins to bang his head on the table, so the officers pull the table away to make him stop.
Don't do that.
No! No!
Tally, calm down.
Suspects having reactions such as Tally's isn't that uncommon. After a car crash that severe, it's possible he truthfully doesn't remember that night. And after being told Kelly is dead, it's likely all those memories are beginning to flood back into his mind, causing him to react so viscerally. The officers work to calm him down and get him to answer their questions, but they make a big mistake when Tally asks for a lawyer, as the officers seem to skip over this and continue the interrogation.
Hey, I don't want you to hurt yourself, okay? You got enough injuries on you, man. You gotta heal up from all this, okay?
I'm not gonna talk.
You're not gonna talk?
I'm not gonna talk.
Okay, well, that's your right. That's your right, okay? We'll relax, okay?
It's not bad. It's just the last few pages. Bill, you don't want to talk to us? Are you aware that you have an attorney representing you or not?
Nobody's talking to me about anything.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you want to ask some questions, there's some we can answer, Bill, but in the same aspect, we'd like to talk to you if you want to talk. And that's your right if you don't want to talk.
It's at this point that the officers should have ceased talking with him, saying things like, "There are some questions we can answer for you, but only if you want to talk," could possibly cause anything that Tally admits to be thrown out in court. The interrogation finally ceases after about another 2 minutes of this.
Kelly's dead.
Yes. Bill, let's not do this.
Take me back to jail.
Take you back to jail.
Take me back to jail.
All right. Calm down, we'll take you back, okay?
After the interrogation, Tally didn't want to say anything to the police. But that didn't matter because the police had such an abundance of evidence at the crime scene that a confession wasn't necessary for a conviction. Tally was charged with murder and sentenced to life in prison. But it's not always current police officers who murder in cold blood. This next criminal became a cop to escape murder charges. This is Grant Hardin, a retired police chief deeply respected by his community. That is, until he became the primary suspect of a disturbing murder case. On February 23, 2017, James Appleton was taking a call in an empty parking lot when he was shot by a man in a white Chevy Monte Carlo. A nearby bystander saw the car speeding off, so it didn't take long for officers to figure out who the owner of the white Chevy was. At 9:30 that night, police pulled over Grant in his white Chevy, and much like our first case, Grant had years upon years of police training as well, so interrogating him would be an uphill challenge for detectives. After being stopped by police, Grant was brought to an interrogation room, thinking he was going to be questioned about an unrelated incident. Little did he know, the next couple of hours would decide the rest of his life.
I'm Detective Chamberlain. I know we haven't met. James Chamberlain.
Okay, yeah.
I know. Did you used to be a police officer somewhere? Or I recognized you, but I wasn't 100% sure where I knew you from. But somebody said that you used to be a police officer in Gateway or something like that. Okay.
And a constable. And
You were a constable here too. For Benton County?
yeah.
For Benton County. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking.
Well,
How long did you do that?
2 years. Well, I was elected one term, 2 different terms, but not
Okay.
together.
Not together, so on two separate occasions. Okay. You understand this. You've been through this before, so I'm gonna read it to you. Anytime we bring somebody into the sheriff's office, we read this before we start talking to people. Okay, and it's just your statement of rights for us. And before we ask you any questions, it's my duty to advise you of your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand that? I need a affirmative yes or no. Okay. Okay. Anything you say can be used against you in court or other proceedings?
Detective Chamberlain is using the casual approach to the interrogation of Grant, though he has to be careful because it's extremely possible that Grant already knows what Detective Chamberlain is up to. Chamberlain informs Grant of his rights and proceeds to start questioning Grant, though this strategy quickly proves ineffective.
Can you just take me through when you woke up this morning to when you got stopped by the police out there in what's the name of that road that you were on? I'm sorry, I'm going drunk. Gant Ridge?
I'm not gonna say anything after I've been read those rights yet.
Okay. Why don't you want to talk to me about your day?
I don't know what's going on. I am kind of sickly to what I'm here for and things.
Okay. So you don't want to explain what you've done today? Did you? Is there a reason behind that?
You read me my rights, and I don't know why. And so, what was the first thing said? I have the right to remain silent.
Okay. So you're telling me that you don't want to talk to me right now?
I'm going to remain silent.
Okay. Cool. Hang tight right here for just a few minutes, okay?
After realizing Grant isn't going to make this easy for them, Detective Chamberlain leaves the room for a few minutes to plan his next attack. When he comes back, Chamberlain attempts to calm Grant down and get him to open up by strategically stating that they just want to rule him out of being the suspect. Keep in mind, they still haven't really told Grant exactly why he's being interrogated.
You see the position that I'm in. I can't tell you why you're here, but at the same time, I need to rule you out into something. Does that make sense? I mean, or would you be willing to talk to me about your day, knowing that I need to rule you out of something, or I'm at a loss here, and I need to clear you from something. And if you didn't do anything wrong today, you have nothing to worry about. And that's kind of where we're at.
The interrogation continues with Chamberlain trying to explain to Grant that by not telling him anything, they're at a standstill. They can't eliminate him as a suspect if he doesn't talk. Grant continues to bring up his right to remain silent, using the detective's tricks against them. Agitated, Chamberlain tells him that everyone, suspect or not, is read their rights when they come into the interrogation room, continuing to try and put Grant at ease to get him to talk. The minutes tick by, and as Grant continues to remain silent, the detectives again leave the room to try and think of some genius plan to corner Grant. At that point, Grant does something suspicious and highly unusual by standing up and trying to escape.
Hello?
Thinking the detectives have nothing on him and that he's not detained, Grant asks to leave the interrogation.
I was looking for a detective.
You want me to get it for you?
Well, I'm ready. I need to go
You need to go where?
home or get ready for work in a little bit.
Okay, we'll just have a seat and I'll get it for you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Chamberlain comes back a few minutes later to inform Grant that he isn't allowed to leave yet. Grant has yet to ask for a lawyer, meaning the interrogation is still legally allowed to happen. He's only said that he wished to remain silent, and by not asking for a lawyer, Officer Chamberlain is allowed to keep him there. Over the next half an hour, Detective Cordiero, who had been the other officer in the room with Chamberlain, strikes up small talk and is able to start extracting crucial information from Grant.
Did you go anywhere today? Did you ever leave the house today?
Yeah, we went to...
But, well, besides tea?
No.
No. I don't know. Maybe you got out and about. Sometimes I like to run errands.
Is my mom and dad okay?
Yeah. That I know of. I haven't
Okay.
talked to him, but I'm sure I haven't heard anything yet. Did you see him today? No. Yeah, I haven't talked to him, but I haven't heard anything about your parents.
Okay.
Yeah, they live close to you, don't they? Yeah. When you were outside today, did you notice anything different or weird going on? Or hear anything that was abnormal?
No.
While you were outside letting the sea and stuff like that? No? Everything's good. Did you run into anybody? Anybody stop by, say hi? Nothing? No? Okay. Alright. Well...
It's clear that Detective Cordiero's calm and friendly approach seems to be working a little better with Grant. She continues to chit-chat with him to put him at ease and possibly get him to accidentally admit something. After another 5 minutes of chit-chat, Cordiero gets Grant to explain what happened when he got arrested. They continue to chat some more before Grant says that he is going to remain silent on the more incriminating questions. Note that Cordiero hasn't asked any obvious trick questions, but Grant's years of experience and training help him realize which questions are safe and which aren't. When Cordiero asked him about his shirt, it's possible that he realized he may have just walked into a trap. After the two talk some more about unimportant topics, Hardin finally asks for a lawyer, officially ending the interrogation. He was arrested at 9:30 p.m., and it is now close to 3 a.m. Once again, even though Grant didn't say much to the police, it didn't matter because the police already had enough evidence for a conviction. Grant was charged with murder and sentenced to 35 years in prison. It's unlikely that he will ever step foot outside again. And the same can be said for Stephanie Lazarus, who murdered someone while actively on the police force. Before joining the force, Stephanie was seeing a man named John Rutten, and while John moved on and started dating a new woman, Stephanie never did. So when John and Sherry ended up getting engaged, that's when things took a turn for the worse. On February 24th, 1986, at around noon, John had left for work, and his fiancée Sherry was supposed to have gone to work but called out sick due to a back injury. A few hours later, John was informed that his garage door was left open. Fearing that someone could break into the house, he called home numerous times but never got an answer from his fiancée. When he returned that evening, he saw the wide-open garage door, and to his horror, when he walked into the house, he found the lifeless body of his soon-to-be wife. When police arrived on scene, they combed the area and deduced that this was a burglary gone wrong due to the fact that Sherry was wearing a bathrobe when she was attacked, meaning she wasn't expecting anyone to show up. But 20 years later, the case was randomly reopened by two detectives who determined the crime was indeed a murder. And with Stephanie being one of the obvious suspects, she was brought in for interrogation, though she thought she was going to be questioned about an unrelated incident.
We've been assigned a case that we've been looking at. Okay. It's a new case, and reviewing the case, there's some notes to see as far as your name being mentioned.
Okay.
Do you know John Rutten?
John Rutten?
Rutten.
Oh, yeah, I went to school with him.
You did?
Yeah.
How long did you know him?
Gosh, I went to school in, let's see, went to UCLA in 1978 I started, and, met him at school at the dorms.
Were you guys friends, close friends?
Yeah, we're very close friends. I mean, what's this all about?
Well, it's a case we're working on. It involves John, and in there, some of the statements we reviewed, there's notes and stuff that he knew you and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we good friends, lived in the dorms for 2 years.
You guys lived in the same dorm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Dykstra.
Okay. Were you guys just friends or anything else, or?
Yeah, we were good friends.
Yeah. Was there ever any relationship or anything that developed between you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we dated, what's this all about?
It's evident that Stephanie was a bit nervous once John's name was brought up. She frequently asked what this was all about and was evasive when the detective asked if there was any romantic involvement between the two. As the interview carried on, she would slowly start to realize that this was all going to end with her in prison for life.
Roughly how long would you say you guys dated?
Oh, jeez. I couldn't even say. I mean, I started school there in 78. I started UCLA in 1978. I graduated in 82. I don't even remember what year he graduated, if it was a year or two before me.
Okay.
I think he was a little bit older than I was. I mean, I can't remember if he was born, let's say I'm born in 1960. I don't know if he was born in 58 or 59. I mean, I knew his parents, I knew his sister. His brother went to Northridge. His sister spent the night at my house before. Obviously, I spent the night at his house before. He probably spent the night at my house before. Yeah, I don't.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, because from what you're telling me is you guys dated while you were in college together, right?
Yeah, and probably after college. I can't. Geez, trying to think when I met my husband. I met my husband in, when did I meet Scott? Let's see. I was teaching DARE because I met Scott when I was teaching DARE up in Oregon. But we had long stopped, dating before that.
So you haven't talked to him for a long time?
Oh, I think I haven't talked to him in a long time. I couldn't even tell you when the last time I talked to him. I met Scott, I'm thinking in 92 maybe, April of 92.
Throughout the interview, Stephanie is constantly using words like, and hitting her fists against the table. She asks again why she's being interrogated, but the detectives keep questioning. As the questioning progresses, little cracks start to appear in Stephanie's story. Towards the end of the interview, she had gone from saying that she never saw John after Sherry's murder to saying that he actually went on a vacation with her. After that obvious lie, the detectives were now 100% sure she's hiding something, and they're about to call her out on it.
Okay, like I said, I'm faintly remembering that I went to Hawaii with my friend Greg. Greg and I got certified for scuba diving, and I'm thinking that John met us there, meaning Greg and I. That could have been, I got certified toward the end of 88, 88, 89, because I got recertified again, and it had been like over 10 years, so I got recertified. My husband and I got recertified, and I'm pretty sure that John met us there. Again, I'd have to tell you what year it was, I'd have to look at my pictures, and other than that, I can't even say. He may have called me, at my home. I may have called him. I don't think he got together with our group.
With this obvious contradiction, detectives were cracking open the floodgates to the influx of lies. And after nearly an hour of interrogation, the detectives finally come clean as to why she was brought in today.
This occurred in 86, right? Detectives processed the scene, things of that nature. They did fingerprints and all that stuff. You know the standard stuff. I mean, you've been doing this longer than I have.
Well, not about that. I got 26 years on, going on 26.
19, so. But, as they processed everything, they did the best they could at that time, and they looked at a lot of people and different things in this case. And you're right.
I mean, if you guys are claiming that I'm a suspect, then I got a problem with that. Okay. So, if you're doing this as an interrogation, you're saying, hey, I'm a suspect. Well, now I got a problem with, now you're accusing me of this. Is that what you're saying?
We're trying to figure out what happened, Stephanie.
Well, I'm just saying. Do I need to get a lawyer if you're accusing me of this? You
don't have to.
I'm just,
you're here of your own free will. I mean,
no. I know, but
you're not under arrest. You can walk out.
You can leave whenever you like.
Well, I'm trying to give you some background of how I knew him, and now you're telling me that somebody's saying that we had this big old fight, and I don't even know what you're talking about. And I don't want to get in trouble for something that I didn't even do, or you're saying I did something.
The detectives asked her if she would be willing to provide them with her DNA, but Stephanie, at that point, asks to speak with a lawyer and is walked out of the room. But only 2 minutes later, she is brought back in for a formal interrogation.
This is absolutely crazy.
Have a seat, Stephanie.
This is insane.
Okay. Stephanie, you have the right to remain silent. Do you understand?
Yes.
Anything you say may be used against you in court. Do you understand?
Yes.
You have the right to the presence of an attorney before and during any questioning. Do you understand?
Yes.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one will be appointed for you free of charge before any questioning if you want. Do you understand?
Yes.
Do you want to talk to us right now?
No.
Okay. All right. Okay.
This is crazy. Okay. This is absolutely. I'm like in shock. I'm totally in shock.
After exercising her right to remain silent, she was arrested and formally charged with the murder of Sherry Rasmussen. While she was in jail, officers took the time to look through her entire house. They found her journal from around the time of the murder and saw no mention of the crime or anything about it. All that was written in it was her confessing her love for John. They did, however, find weird activity on her computer where she had made numerous searches of John and Sherry. It was this and unwavering DNA evidence that put her at the scene of the murder, which betrayed her at trial. After a few failed attempts at getting the case thrown out, Stephanie Lazarus was found guilty and was sentenced to 27 years to life in prison.